This is
Make It Plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make it plain.
Get woke.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we have him. He's the man. I hope you have been following his Twitter thread throughout the beginning of these confirmation hearings. He's also the author of the New York Times bestseller, Allow Me To Retort, A Black Man's Guide to the Constitution. You got to check that out. But he's one of our most profound legal analysts, jurists, attorneys, whatever you want to call them. He's also with The Nation. Elie Mystal is with us. Hey, brother, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Reverend. How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. So I just want to start this way, just right off the top. What gives Lindsey Graham the right to scream at a black woman the way he does? Does he think she's the help, Ketanji Brown Jackson, or what?
It's massively disrespectful, but it doesn't come out of nowhere. Lindsey Graham basically single-handedly turned around the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. After Kavanaugh was accused of attempted rape, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford came in, gave her testimony. It was very compelling. It was very good. It was very believable. Republicans went away. We're trying to figure out what to do about it. Remember, they brought in a female assistant. That's what they called her. That's not my words. To question Blasey Ford. That wasn't working out for them. They went on break, and Lindsey Graham came back in to that hearing and started screaming. He started throwing a hissy fit. He started yelling at everybody, yelling at Amy Klobuchar, yelling at everybody. And then the rest of the Republicans followed suit. And then Brett Kavanaugh was like, oh, screaming. And then he started screaming, right? People forget that Lindsey Graham started that whole process of shouting their way to confirmation. Since that's worked out, Lindsey Graham has, in not just every confirmation hearing, but in most of his kind of Senate big-time appearances, has taken to screaming as his way to when he's out of a point, right? So when he doesn't have anything useful or intelligent or logical to say, he just starts shouting it. And that kind of riles up his people, riles up his base, riles up the Republicans. And that's what we saw today and yesterday.
And what about this fixation on the pedophilia as well? Doesn't that say even more about them than it does about the nominee?
You know, what they're doing with that, again, it's directed. What they're doing with that is trying to rile up their QAnon base, right? They know that these pedophilia attacks excite, I would even say titillate their QAnon base. They know that base is violent. I mean, literally, they have gone out and done violence in this country. And that is what they are partnering with. That is what they are exciting. That is why they are doing these attacks. Nobody credible thinks that Ketanji Brown Jackson supports pedophiles. All right, that's not even an argument that they want to make. Right, like it's so clearly ridiculous. But they're doing this through innuendo. They're doing these attacks because we know what the QAnon base thinks about. And let's remember Pizzagate, which is that time where the violent person went to a pizza parlor trying to bust a alleged child sex ring it was just a pizza parlor. Who sentenced the person responsible for Pizzagate? That would be Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who sentenced him to 4 years when the prosecutors asked for 4.5, but the defendant asked for 18 months. You'll note that they haven't brought that case up. All this focusing on her sentencing, they haven't brought up the time where she sentenced the Pizzagate guy, have they?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, Elie. That's important. So this is a little bit of get back time, isn't it?
Yep.
She busted their Pizzagate conspiracy dude.
She busted their guy, and this is part again. So QAnon is already predisposed to dislike her, right? Already predisposed to hate her. And now they're doing the pedophile attacks. It's gross, but it's what they are. It's what they are, and it's all they have.
Who asks somebody to define what a woman is or what a man is? What what is that?
It's weird, right? Like I can define those terms in a way that works for me and my family, right? And Ketanji Brown Jackson can define those terms in a way that works for her and her family. But what she was asked to do was to define it in a constitutional way. And I just got to say, having read the document, which not all the Republicans have, the Constitution is silent on what defines a man and a woman. The Constitution makes no proclamation about what defines a man and a woman. But you know what the Constitution does say? In the 14th Amendment, it says that equal protection of laws has to be granted to all the people who are living here. So one of the things that I try to say to people who kind of don't know what to think about trans rights and it's all new and scary, like you don't have to know, you don't have to be woke, you don't have to be part of the trans rights movements. All you have to do is understand that trans people are people. And if you get that far, if you can get to the point where you get that they're people, then it's pretty obvious that people have equal protection of rights, a right to due process, and all of the other, rights, all the other rights that any other person in this country has. That's what Jackson was trying to get at. She cannot define man or woman in a constitutional sense. All she can do is define people.
So where do you see this going? I mean, it's pretty much wrapping up all of their attack foolishness. I just don't. Is this going to split, you think, the vote along party lines?
I mean, Rev, let me ask you: if you were there, would you have fought Lindsey Graham today? Like, would you have? I mean, I don't mean fist fight. I mean, maybe I do. But I mean, no. I don't mean that. Right? I mean, would you have stood up there and been like, "Hey, what are you doing? This is inappropriate." Like, would you have attacked him? Right? Or
I'm gonna tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I thought about. First of all, her parents seem very sweet to me. I mean, I know that she and I are almost the same age, and I see her parents. I think about my grandparents, her parents. They don't deserve to see their daughter go through that. More MIP after this message.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save money on your insurance? Of course you would. After all, who wouldn't love a great deal, right? And when it comes to great rates on insurance for all of the things in your life, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners, condo, or renters coverage. You could save even more with a special discount when you bundle your coverages. Plus, add the easy-to-use Geico mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more. And choosing to switch to Geico becomes an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote or contact your local agent and get started seeing how much you could save.
And just to show you how different I am. So I'm in her generation. If this was my child, if my daughter was there, we'd have a problem. That'd be the story. This child's father stood up and said, "Don't you address my daughter like she's the help." You said, so I'm just letting you know that's what would have happened with me. I thought about less being me, but if I'm there defending a child of mine or a relative of mine or somebody, or just even a close comrade of mine, this is someone who is about to be in an equal branch of government as you. You don't talk to her like she's the help. So and answer your question, that's what I would have done. And then that would have been the thing, and it probably would have just blown up the whole nomination. But I'm just saying, you all would have had to restrain me from just saying that. I wouldn't put my hands on nobody, but you would have had to restrain me from saying that, Elie.
Right? What my perspective is, I understand Judge Jackson not being able to fight back, right? Because let me tell you, Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and John Kennedy, these are not the first dumbass white men that have come at her with some mess, right? She knows how to deal with those white men, but she's not allowed to deal with them how she usually deals with them because of the confines of this process. So given that you are confining her into this process, I think that it's incumbent, or should have been incumbent, upon Democratic senators to do the defense of this woman the way that she would have defended herself but for the process, right? Because they are the ones who are allowed to do the fighting. They're the ones who are allowed to scream at Lindsey Graham. They're the ones that are allowed to blow up the hearing at that point, right? And they didn't do it. So you ask why, and this is where I'm trying to answer your question. What do I think is going to happen? There are two reasons for why Democrats don't do that. One, they are weak, craven cowards. Okay. Two, equally possible, they know it's locked up. They know they have the votes. They just have to get through another day, another half a day, right? And they're just trying to get through it with as painlessly as possible. So if they are on number two, if they are right about number two, then that means this is wrapped up. This is not going to be a problem. And the Democrats don't have to do anything more than what they did. And so I hope that is right. I hope that they've got Manchin and Sinema like chained to some kind of electric fence to make sure they show up to vote on time. Like, I hope all of that is in the bag. And if so, then I guess I can understand how they handled this hearing. But so I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna hope it's number two and it's not the first thing.
So do we have Manchin and Sinema for sure? I mean, we don't have anything to be worried about, do we?
Manchin and Sinema have been reliable votes on all of Biden's judicial appointments up to this point. That's the best I can say. I'll also point out that, while obviously Lindsey Graham is a faithless hypocrite whose word cannot be trusted and whose bond means nothing, Ketanji Brown Jackson got 3 Republican votes when she was up before the Senate earlier in 2021. Graham and Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. And we don't know yet what Murkowski, there's been no readout about Murkowski or Collins, but it's certainly possible that you get one or both of them. Mitt Romney has said he's thinking about it. I take Mitt at his word about that. Whether or not he comes through, who knows? So even if Manchin and Sinema are not 100% there, I really think it would only take one Republican vote to make Manchin and Sinema 100% there. And so I'm still, relatively speaking, confident that this gets done. I just hope it gets done quickly, because the other I think troubling news or whatever that we have to talk about is that Justice Clarence Thomas is in the hospital. And look, I hope he recovers, because while I don't agree with him, I want to beat him. I want him to live long enough to see me beat him. You know what I mean? But if he should tragically pass away, that opens up a whole new that really unbalances like where this is all going. So I hope that they get through the process with all deliberate speed. Let's put it like that, and have this locked down, because you never know what the future holds. One of the things I was saying earlier, right when Biden was elected, Pat Leahy's like 88, right? Like, Dianne Feinstein, like there are some old people that make up the Democrat 50 vote majority, and no day is guaranteed. So you want to do what you can while you can.
So for obvious reasons that only you know confidentially, I'm going to reserve comment on Clarence Thomas. Elie knows exactly how I feel. I would just throw everybody a hint. Just go back and read the imprecatory Psalms and what David asked God to do to his enemies. And we'll just leave that there. But anyway, I'm going to be good. Ann Wilcox just commented on Facebook. Judge Jackson has the dignity and grit of Jackie Robinson. And she certainly does. Unfortunately, she has to be that way under these circumstances. And
her sigh
right.
was epic. Did you catch the sigh?
Yeah. More MIP after this message. But not only did I catch the sigh, I was a little worried on day one about some of the body language, because she looked like the Black woman we all know as Black women in our lives. She was looking like, what like, what are you talking about, dude? What is up with you? And really, it ought to be her right to do that. But, we have to, Barack Obama had to be Jackie Robinson. You know, even when I had white listeners say, "When are we gonna see the angry black man, Mark? That's what we need to see." But when you're a first, unfortunately, but the first has to do what needs to be done in order for the person to come behind and do something. Just to kind of, I know everyone has been watching, but just to kind of give people the latest on some of what has been happening, and just to kind of, you know, be sure you have some more context. Let's take a minute and see how Ted Cruz carried on today. Folks, just please take a listen to this.
700 images. You come in for 57
Time
months.
has expired.
Why
Senators
did you
use 2
sentence
minutes
him to
over the
just
allotted.
57 months in the Stewart case? Do you want to address that? Because you're claiming it's cherry picking. In fact, you're welcome to explain any of these cases, but let's take the Stewart case. Why
Senator Coons,
did you sentence him for half the amounts?
you're not recognized, Senator. Senator Coons,
You don't want her to answer that question?
you wouldn't allow her any.
Mr. Chairman, she may answer the question. I've asked her why she sentenced Stewart.
You've
an
gone over the
egregious-
time, Senator, by 2 minutes.
Why she's
and a half.
because you've interrupted me for 2 minutes, Mr. Chairman. Will you allow her to answer the question, or do you not want the American people to hear why, with someone she described as an
Well, there
egregious
comes a point, Senator, where you get a little bit.
Chairman Durbin, will you allow her to answer the question?
You won't allow her to answer.
I will happily allow her to. The question is
Senator
why
Coons, you may
did you
proceed.
sentence Stewart, an egregious child pornography possessor,
So,
to
Judge Jackson.
half of the amount
Please, Senator.
requested by the prosecutor?
Please, Senator.
Will you allow her to answer the question, Chairman Durbin?
Senator Coons,
Thank you.
Why are you not allowing her to answer the question? There's
You're
not
over
another
the time
senator
by
here
2.5
that you've not allowed her to answer the question.
you're
I'm
finished.
not asking another question, but allow her to answer the question, Chairman Durbin.
Thank you, Chairman.
Why do you not want the American people to know what happened in the Stewart case or any of these cases? Chairman Durbin, I've never seen the chairman refuse to allow a witness to answer a question. You can bang it as loud as you want.
Well, I can just tell you, at some point, you have to follow the rules.
Okay, will you let her answer the question? You've been interrupting, and by the way, with Senator Graham, it went 10 minutes over. You've
Sure
taken a
did.
big chunk of the time. Will you allow her to answer the question?
You've given her.
Why
no
are you afraid of her?
opportunity to
She's
answer.
welcome to answer it right now. Will you let her?
Senator Coons,
Will you let? So no, you don't want her to answer the question?
Senator Coons.
Will you let her answer the question?
Chairman Durbin,
Apparently,
Judge
you are
Jackson.
very afraid of the American people hearing the answer to that question.
we here in the Senate, in this committee today, are in the middle of a
So,
policy.
and then Chris Coons goes on. Now, you all saw that. You all heard that. He's running for president, right? That's really what that's about. And you trying to get a viral clip on Fox News. That's really what's going on there, right?
Yeah, but again, this goes back to kind of where I have some issues with the Democrats, right? Like, look at how Durbin handled that. Like, all right, we're friends. This is a friendly show.
Come on.
Durbin handled that like a white parent handles like their child misbehaving, right? Just like, oh, well, no, come on, little Jimmy, you got to, I don't want to give you a timeout now, Jimmy. Like, you try doing that to a black parent in the middle of a grocery store, right? Snatch your narrow behind so fast, right? Like, you can't get away doing that to a black parent like in public, right? You can't fall out like that because black parents know how to get you, right? They don't have to hit you or nothing. Like, they know how to snatch you, right? And Durbin like just had this like exasperated kind of sensibility instead of going in and stopping that man from lying about this woman. Like, that's what, and Coons, by the way, same problem, right? Because, like, trust me, had it been my turn to talk next and Cruz wants to go on, no. Mr. Cruz would not have gotten more words in, all right? He would have had to literally shout louder than me, which he can't do. That's the bar that I would have set had it been my turn to speak next. Coons, very, very respectfully, just Senator, just waited for things to die. Why? It was his turn. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats don't. Again, this is where I'm saying we don't defend our own people, and this isn't just because I don't think this is just because Jackson is a black woman. Democrats just don't defend people very well in that moment, whereas Republicans are always running around screaming and acting a fool. Cruz was just what Durbin was trying to say. You're not going to let her answer. That's because Cruz had 20 minutes. Where he basically wouldn't let her, he would ask a question, she would start to answer it, he would cut her off. Like, literally just cut her off not letting her finish her sentence mid-sentence when she was trying to answer his questions. So the entire thing was done in bad faith. That's what Durbin was trying to get across. But again, he did it in this kind of exasperated, like, how do I deal with little Jimmy who isn't eating his peas, as opposed to, you're gonna learn today. Kind of thing. Just even
Right.
what Durbin said, at some point you're gonna have to follow the rules. When is that point? When is the point that Cruz has to follow the rules? Everybody would like to know.
Well, and that's a good point too, Elie. Ironically, while Republicans tout themselves as the party of Christianity and evangelicalism, Democrats are the ones who have perfected turning the other cheek unnecessarily. And how's that been working? Because, again, they're in power because of us, because of our votes. What reasons have been given? What inspiration is being given for us as Black folk to go back out and vote? Now, I will say this, and I wonder if you agree with this. I think a lot of us are going to feel motivated to vote and do a lot of things after seeing how our sister has been treated. But also, having said that, people want to see you fight. At least the Republican base sees them fighting, making some noise about something, even though it's crazy. That was the time to become adamant. To say, Cruz, man, you need to chill, Cat. You need to chill out. You are way out of order. I mean, not even any voice inflection. And I think that's one of the reasons why maybe they might lose. And see, then this little chairmanship you had, this ability to hold this gavel, vanishes into thin air because you didn't really give anybody any morale, inspiration, and stand up. But it's like the memo went around: turn the other cheek, don't make any noise, be calm, be cool, be collected. Just let them show that they're crazy. But no, that's not natural. People get mad. People say stuff. People defend one another. Say, man, no. You way out of order. You talking to her like she's a child. She's someone that is going to have a lifetime appointment in an equal branch of government, who is educated, more educated than anybody up here, than even you, Ted Cruz, even you, Lindsey Graham. Y'all got to stop talking to her like that.
You see it because Democrats understand appointing a Black woman, it's about representation, right? She can't change the law. She's going to be in the minority. She can't stop the Republicans from doing their ideological crusade on the Supreme Court. She's a representation. She has said herself, she's a role model. She's an example for younger people. People can look at her and think, oh, that looks like me. That could be me. All right, so if you understand that, well, that could be me in the chair. And where's my friends? Where's my help? Where's my support? Oh, it doesn't exist. Like in that moment, she's on her own, and it's a loneliness that many Black people have felt. I go back to the sigh because I think there was a story in that sigh. There was a story of Black history in that sigh, because every Black person I know, now I don't like to speak for all Black people. It's not my role. I can't do that. But I feel confident here. Damn near every Black person I know has had that moment in a white structure, in a white situation, where you think, is it worth it to risk it all? Where some white person is just at the last dumb, got on your last nerve, just at the last dumb thing that you're willing to hear that day, and you think to yourself, is it worth it to risk it all? You're doing the calculation, you're talking about the sentencing guidelines. You're doing that in your head. You're like, there's only 5 years for manslaughter. I could probably do that. Like you're going through all of it. Is it worth it to keep this job? Is it worth? And some people, I'm sure you know these people too, have been like, yep, it's worth it. And just, they've quit the job that day in that moment, right? So that sigh was really just her internalizing how badly she wanted to be a Supreme Court judge. And she decided she really wanted it. And then she responded respectfully. And that's great. That shows everything that I need to know about her judicial temperament. Let me just say that, right? Shows me everything I need to know about what she's made of. But I want to see the Democrats rally to her in that moment, right? Understand that she is being put in an impossible position in that moment and come riding to the defense in that moment. And I didn't see it.
No, you got to go in just a couple of minutes. Lastly, though, I think it's also important. She's also, I think for the first time, having been a public defender, and a judge. I've not known of a confirmation hearing where we get a little glimpse of what it means to be fair to those who are defendants. As she has defended herself in some of these charges, she's kind of been making the case, am I wrong, that, you got to take a lot of things into account before you just lock folk up and throw away the key. I think we're getting some of that too, aren't we?
You're so right, and it's so important. Lindsey Graham yesterday literally out there talking about how he thinks people at Guantanamo should be put in a cell to rot until they die without due process of law. And he was proud to say that. Lindsey Graham today said that he thinks that people convicted of child pornography distribution, so not doing the child porn, but looking at the child porn, should be in jail for 50 years, 100 years if necessary. It's just carceral, right? And the reason why it's so hard to put on judges at every level, Supreme Court, federal, district court, state court, elected judges, the reason why it's so hard to put forward people who have compassion and who have decency in their heart is because this is what you get for it. That because if you were ever compassionate to a bad person, a person who did wrong, a person who does need to go to jail for a long time, if you ever show any understanding of their situation, they get you for it. They hold it against you forever and ever and ever. You can see here, some of these cases that they're trying to bring up on her, these are cases she decided 10 years ago.
Yeah.
These are cases she decided 8 years ago. But it's coming, but she never get away from it. It's coming back up again and again. They're trying to use her own compassion against her. Literally, that's what that's what John Cornyn said, that he was worried that she was a compassionate person. I was like, man, that's just a sad statement about where we are in America.
And it also speaks to her character. Unlike Barrett and other people, Kavanaugh, who were groomed without any experience to be on this court, she still stood up for what was right. She didn't make decisions based upon auditioning for a later court appointment, as people on the right often do. So that's important. Elie, brother, you're the best. Thank you. Folks, he's busy and high demand. You be on MSNBC tonight too, won't you?
I think so. I think Ari tonight.
On Ari in the 6:00 Eastern hour, hear more of his expertise. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Manchin and Sinema don't do what they've always done, then sums up, bruh. You and I need to have a whole nother conversation, okay?
There are things that you can't think about because it's just too painful. I'm just gonna, for now, everything's gonna be fine.
Good. Love you, brother. Elie Mystal with us, folks. We appreciate him being with us. Appreciate all of you checking us out. Stay tuned here for more. And don't forget to download the Make It Plain podcast every day, Monday through Friday. It's a daily podcast. So folks, do check it out. And let's continue to cheer on Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Why don't we? I think it's important that we do that. And the inspiration that she offers to all of us. God bless you all. Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. Please remember to listen, like, and wherever you get your podcasts, please give the show a 5-star rating. And please do spread the word. Let's all continue to pray for each other during this pandemic and this police-demic. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.
Early nominating contests build momentum for 2024 contenders seeking the White House. C-SPAN is the place for political campaign enthusiasts, with unfiltered coverage surrounding the early primaries and caucuses, as well as speeches from key battleground states. Whether you're interested in your state's race or want to follow all of the political events, you can get immediate access to what the candidates are saying, plus nominating results in real time with the free mobile app, C-SPAN Now, or watch live on the C-SPAN networks.